找工作真的很容易让人家崩溃。我前2天去面试了一家公司，他原先跟我说只有1轮面试的，这个不仅 HR 面试 ，HR 面完试还要那个外贸主管面试，然后我回来，他跟我说等通知，结果他又让我今天去再去面试一下，说他们老板要再面一下，我今天下午就去面试了，结果那个老板问了我50-60个问题，而且问的都很细的问题，结果我今天问他面试结果，他说还要等明天之后才知道，我就很好奇为什么面试一个那么复杂，为什么不直接提前说？为什么不？我之前在报纸上问了他面试有几轮的时候，他为什么不直接跟我说有3轮面试？而且今天的第3轮面试真的是我面试以来最久的一次，也是我面试过问了最多的问题的。我都不知道为什么那个老板他应该他管的那么细的吗？明明都已经有业务主管了。他面试我可以理解，但他问了我50-60个问题是什么意思啊？是50多个问题哟，不是5个，不是6个，也不是10个，是50多个问题呢。我在那边面试将近1个小时，1个小时我都在回答他的问题。而且公司规模也不大，包括工厂的人估计才100个吧，业务部门就才3-4个人。我都不理解为什么他要问我那么多的问题。真的让我崩溃，也不是因为这个，我真的找了很久的工作了，我才刚毕业2年，工作经验还是不够。他们是想让我工作，他是想让我毕业2年，但是却有3到5年的工作经验是吗？这工作真的会让人家很崩溃，并且对自己很没有信心。不能哭了，我就哭了1个小时了。其实我很坚强的，就是今天就是有点崩溃了。
我是2025届的文科硕士。
I am a liberal arts graduate student from the class of 2025. From last year's fall recruitment season until now, which is already the end of the spring recruitment in April, I still haven't been able to find a job. During the past half a year, I've attended almost every job fair I could possibly go to, and I've sent out nearly 8,000 resumes. Every time I submitted an application, I held on to hope, but every period of waiting and every result kept striking me down. I also understand, maybe it's because I'm older in age, or maybe it's because I'm a liberal arts graduate student, which makes employment inherently difficult. But I can't figure it out, whether it's the overall poor state of the economy, or if I'm simply not good enough myself. During my postgraduate studies, I worked hard all the time. I've received national scholarships, participated in several provincial-level research projects led by my advisor, and even won awards in design competitions. But all these credentials seem completely meaningless in the job market. My parents have silently paid too much for me over the years. They've borne all the hidden costs behind my graduate studies. And now I don't even have a decent job to show for it. I don't even have the right to share any good news with them. I don't even dare to contact them, because honestly, I feel so ashamed. At this point, I've already tried applying for all kinds of jobs. As long as there's even a tiny chance, I'll go for it. But the reality is, finding a job is just too hard. Every day I'm trapped in deep anxiety. I often can't sleep, and my mind just won't stop. I have to force myself to stay busy with something, anything, because if I let myself idle, I'll completely collapse under this overwhelming sense of failure. Sometimes I wonder, is this it for my life? Has reality already handed me my final verdict? But there's no place to express these feelings. I don't dare to talk to my family, and I have no friends I can confide in. Only on the internet, I occasionally dare to let some of it out, to say the things that have been buried in my heart.
觉得工科的女生找工作真的太难了。
Just because I'm a woman, my life has been trapped in some kind of invisible framework. Especially for someone like me, a female student in engineering, the difficulty of job hunting has been amplified to the extreme. You know what? In majors where there are more women, men are favored, but in male-dominated majors, women are not welcome. I majored in automation. Since college, I spent almost every single minute on self-improvement. Participating in competitions, applying for patents, interning at companies, I didn't waste a single moment. I always believed that as long as I worked hard enough, had solid experience and a polished resume, I could land a decent job. But reality slapped me hard in the face. After graduation, I wanted to enter the manufacturing industry. One time, I got a call from an HR person. She said, "Hello, I saw your resume. You wrote that you want to be an electrical engineer. Do you know this industry well? I said of course I do. I can do PLC debugging, and I can draw CAD schematics. The HR went silent for a few seconds and then casually said, actually, this kind of position isn't really suitable for women. Would you like to consider a customer service role at our company instead? I felt a mix of emotions inside and politely turned her down. Later, I kept trying to send out resumes to other industries, but many HRs said my major wasn't a good fit. I hit wall after wall, until one day I walked past a beauty salon and saw a big sign at the entrance that said, urgently hiring. I thought to myself, this one must be looking for women, right? So I made the call. After hearing my background, the person said I didn't have any experience, and I would have to start as a trainee, earning only 1,500 yuan a month. I was stunned. After going home, I vented to my family about all that I had been through, and they said, girls shouldn't be too headstrong. Why don't you take the civil service exam instead? But I really want to ask, is this really just a matter of being too headstrong? And is taking the civil service exam really something you can just pass like that? And even if I weren't headstrong, would my life really become easier, smoother? So many times I feel like I've already been shut out just because my gender is female. Job hunting is truly soul-crushing. Now, I wear a work uniform, and I'm doing a job in the automation industry. Maybe it was precisely because I was too headstrong that things changed. At that time, the company happened to be short-staffed, and I happened to meet the boss during my interview. He asked me, why do you want to work in this field? I said, maybe it's because I'm not willing to give in. I was strong in school, and my grades were great. I want to prove that women can excel in this field too. And then I was hired.
我是一名本科大学生，你们都说房价掉得快。
I am just an ordinary college graduate. Recently, everyone's been talking about how fast housing prices are falling and how badly people are losing money in A shares. But you might be missing something even more brutal, the devaluation of academic degrees. It's faster, and it cuts deeper. Many people think that those of us who went to college just can't lower ourselves, that we can't accept working in a factory tightening screws, or taking a job as a regular service worker. They say, is it because we intellectuals are too arrogant? Are we like Kong Iji in Lu Sun's writing, stubbornly clinging to our long gown and refusing to take it off? But what I want to say is, if you really must find a more accurate word for the arrogance you're talking about, I think it should be unwillingness to accept. I was born in a small village in Anhui. I was the first child in our entire village to get into college. I remember when I was little, I really envied a relative's family who owned a small convenience store. Back then, I naively told my mom, in the future, I want to open a small store too. But my mom's face immediately changed. She got really angry and snapped back, then why are you even studying? I timidly asked her, then what are people who study supposed to do? She said, you should keep studying, be the top student in elementary school, then in middle school, then in high school, then go to college, then get a master's degree, then a PhD. So I just kept listening to her. I studied as hard as I could, and finally got into a regular university. But now, I've graduated. And stepping into society for real, I've realized this society stopped valuing academic degrees as a ticket in a long time ago. When I look for a job, from online interviews, to supervisor interviews, then to manager, then to HR, it's one step after another. I cried many times during this process. Not because I was yelled at, and not because I failed, but because no one cared where I graduated from. They only asked, do you have relevant work experience? Are you familiar with this software? Have you worked with related clients before? Sorry, we only hire men. I stood there, frozen. And in that moment, I understood. All those years of my mother saving every penny to send me to college, in the end, didn't buy me a better starting point, but a degree that's devaluing faster than real estate. I stood in front of that unfamiliar company building, tears welling up in my eyes, not because I felt wronged, but because I felt so unwilling. Has any other girl with a bachelor's degree experienced what I have? Are we really just too proud? No. We're just, really unwilling to accept it.
That day, I met a girl on the street who left a deep impression on me. I walked up to her and asked if she was looking for a job. She said yes, so I chatted with her. She told me that finding a job nowadays is really difficult, especially for fresh graduates like her. I asked her what major she studied, and she said accounting. I originally thought it should be relatively easy to find a job with that major, but she shook her head and said, "Where is it easy to find? I've already been out for more than a week. I've had interviews with 7 or 8 companies, and as soon as they hear I'm a fresh graduate from a junior college, they say I have no work experience. But I'm just newly graduated, where would I get experience from?" I then asked her if she had talked to her family about it. She nodded and said she had, but her family didn't understand at all. They thought it should be easy for a university graduate to find a job, but how many university graduates are there every year? Competition is so fierce. This year, it's really unbelievably hard for fresh graduates to find a job. I asked her what she planned to do next. She said her parents wanted her to go back to her hometown to work. I asked her if she wanted to go back, and she immediately said, "No." She said the wages there were too low, and her parents kept nagging her, which made her feel annoyed. I asked again if her family could help arrange a job back home. She just gave a bitter smile and said, "Ordinary families like ours, how can we arrange anything? Besides, my parents still think that graduating from college means jobs are assigned. They don't even realize that nowadays, if you want a decent job back home, it basically depends on whether your parents have any influence or not." Later, we talked for a long time. I asked her if she felt that all of this was unfair. She thought for a moment and said, "I don't think it's unfair. Maybe I used to think that way, but not anymore. My education, my family background, yes, they're not as good as others, but everyone has the same 24 hours in a day. As long as I don't give up, as long as I keep trying, I believe I can still catch up to others in some areas." When I heard her say this, I was really moved. I don't know how she came to understand these things, just like I don't know how long she's been out looking for a job, how many resumes she's sent out every day, how many times she's done self-introductions, how many times she's been rejected. But what I do know is she's really trying hard.
Today, I saw a news story about a young woman who had just graduated. After experiencing more than 30 job interview failures, she completely broke down emotionally and cried as she questioned the meaning of going to college in the first place. Her story sparked a lot of heated discussion and widespread empathy. The girl said that she majored in copywriting and planning in college. The courses she took were very broad, covering a wide range of topics, but lacking depth in each. As a result, after graduation, she realized during her job search that these types of positions could be done by people from other majors as well. And some companies didn't even require a related major. What made her feel even more helpless was that some companies didn't pay any salary during the internship period and didn't promise a chance of becoming a full-time employee. This kind of situation, where she couldn't see any hope, made her feel extremely depressed and anxious. She said that she had been constantly going to interviews for several months already, struggling every day on the edge of a breakdown. With each failure, she more deeply realized she was just so ordinary. In fact, this girl's experience is not unique, especially for graduates who have just entered society, particularly those from liberal arts backgrounds. It's never easy to find a suitable and stable job. This is due not only to the realities of the social environment and market demand, but also to the gap between one's actual abilities and psychological expectations. One comment from a netizen said, "After starting work, the first lesson this society taught me was to accept my own mediocrity." Although that sentence is harsh, I think it's not about accepting one's mediocrity, but about learning to face reality and adjust one's mindset. I've seen quite a few recent graduates. Many of them were full of ambition at the beginning. Their resumes were polished and impressive, and they were full of confidence during interviews. But once they actually started working, they realized that what they learned in school was far from what was needed on the job. They didn't know how to do this, weren't proficient in that, and their confidence was quickly crushed by reality. Many college students sighed. "Weren't I considered excellent back at school?" In the end, this actually reflects a common problem in many universities today: too much theory and not enough practical training. Once you leave campus and enter the workforce, you must reevaluate yourself. You have to adjust your mindset, stay positive, and persevere because many things will have to be relearned from scratch. It is absolutely necessary to improve your practical skills and gain real experience as soon as possible. Actually, I also want to say this to that girl. You are not incapable. It's just that right now, you're at the starting point of a transformation. Adjust your mindset, stay optimistic, and keep going. You will definitely find a job that suits you. Keep it up. If you've also experienced a similar job hunting struggle, feel free to share your story in the comment section. If you like this video, please give a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. See you in the next video.